Hey friends, welcome back to the Gentleman's Journey. Guys, today we're talking about the Red Wing 3192 Chelsea boot. So friends, I ended up getting this in the Hawthorne Muleskin Roughout leather. Now guys, I've been excited about this boot for some time, and I think there's some of you guys who are gonna be stoked to see it here on the channel. So here it is guys, that beautiful color. I really can't wait to see how this boot patinas. I think it's just the way with the Roughout and the color that I chose, it's gonna offer some really neat color changes, stuff like that. So friends, in the video, we're gonna go through the build quality, the construction. We'll talk about sizing if you're curious what size you should get, how to care for these boots. Guys, we'll take them out on a little adventure just like we always do, and then I'll give you my initial thoughts. You're gonna have to subscribe. Come back in a year as we do the year review. We'll put them through their paces, take them on all kinds of adventures. We'll end up doing cleaning videos. We'll end up doing probably comparison videos. So you're gonna wanna make sure and stick around for all that. If you're new here, my name is Charles. We do a lot of boot stuff. We do some everyday carry, all kinds of guy related things like that. So at any rate, friends, let's get into these boots. Now friends, some people say that this boot has an identity crisis. So this is coming from Red Wing, an all-American company who specializes in work boots. Guys, if your grandpa or dad had any kind of construction, maybe working in a mine, did any kind of manual labor, they probably had Red Wing. So that's probably what you're familiar with, but they're coming out with this heritage line and growing that more and more. So a lot of people wish they would have kept their Rancher Chelsea or even their Weekender Chelsea. Guys, this is gonna be a little bit more clunky than maybe your Australian RM Williams Chelsea boot. There's other British style boots where you actually wear them with a suit. You could wear them as business casual, but this is obviously has that Red Wing work boot kind of look to it, if you will. So a little bit bigger, roomy toe box. That's gonna be a huge attraction for a lot of people. And then it's gonna have this crepe wedge outsole. So a lot to talk about here, guys. Now, typically at this point in the review, I get into one of the first things you see is the laces and the hardware. Obviously no laces here, but we have these stretchy side panels. So that's how you're gonna be able to stretch it and get my big old foot down in there. Next thing you'll notice right away is this thing has one pull tab and not two. Something like my Redbacks have two pull tabs. I kind of like two. Some people think that the front one makes your pant bulge out. I haven't experienced that. Let me know if you have. Just a design thing. I think maybe that's something that American companies want to do just to kind of stand out. I'm not sure. You'll see popular Australian boots with two. I think the Doc Martens have two. But at any rate, guys, just a little something there. I like a pull tab I can get my finger in. I have big hands, so happy for that. I can get that apart. But I think something that we all came for is this leather. So of course they have three options. They have this, and then they have a black leather, and then they have the amber. So those ones there are gonna be that full grain oiled leather, where this is the Roughout. So we're gonna get all into Roughout and hopefully answer any questions you guys have about Roughout versus smooth, Roughout kind of versus suede or nubuck, if you will. But this here is a Roughout boot. So what that's gonna do, it's gonna make it quite a bit tougher than suede. So it's the same as the oiled full grain boots, but they flip it inside out. There's certain spots where you can see, you can look behind here and you can actually see that. But this isn't nubuck, this isn't suede, which would be softer, more supple, but cheaper leather, if you will. So it's still gonna be just as durable as the other two options. Of course, if it's color for you, you can check out those other two options on the website. But let me get into kind of what we're talking when we're talking Roughout. So check out these images I'm gonna be putting on the screen. The first one here does a really good job of showing the different types of leather. So the other two Chelseas have that full grain, so you can see where that comes from. The top end of the hide, which is farthest away from the flesh. Ours today is the Roughout, therefore it's the same section of leather, just reversed. Instead of seeing the full grain side, the part you'd see if you give a cow a good shaving, we have the smooth surface facing inward, and the full grain section is facing out. So Red Wing uses their reverse suede technology, as they put it, that's unique to their SB foot tannery, and that they state is simply highlighting the inside of the full grain leather. So this Hawthorne leather is just as strong as the other two. Now guys, the second image that I'm gonna put on the screen, this is from a company that makes cowboy chaps, and I think they do a really good job of explaining this as well. So of course the nubuck or suede is split out of the center of the whole situation. So it's not the top grain and then it's not the flesh side. It's in the corium and the grain section. As they point out, the leather is softer, more supple, and a lower grade leather that is not as tough as the top grain or the full grain stuff. So friends, if you have any more questions about that, would love to dive a little bit deeper into kind of the makeup of the leather. But you know, this stuff here has a lot of waxes and oils built into it through the tanning process. You can see it and feel it in different sections of the boot. Again, these are brand new, haven't worn them yet. We're gonna take them out on our first adventure on this video, and then we'll get into the 1-year review and stuff later. This Roughout leather is still gonna be different than, say, my Frank's Riker AT boots. I got those in Roughout, and I got my white smoke jumpers in Roughout. The thing that's different is you can peel back a little piece and just see how thin it is. So this is gonna be kind of, again, it's that full grain piece of the leather just switched. I think with those other boots, they get so much thicker that they get into that corium. They get into that kind of bigger fibrous stuff that you saw on that picture there, and it's gonna be a thicker leather. So those are incredibly tough work boots. This is gonna be, you know, their heritage boot line. So you're not buying this because you want a super thick, chunky work boot. And quite frankly, you don't want the weight, because this is something you wear at the end of the day when you get off work. You're gonna throw this on, hang out with your wife, go take the dog for a walk, do what you're gonna do, where you don't want the clunky, tough work boot on. But in that, because it's thinner, I think it's gonna take the waxes differently. And because, you know, Red Wing has their own tannery, they make everything head to toe right here in America. They control the whole production line. They're gonna have their own processes that are different from any other tannery. And so it'll be a little bit different, and I can't wait to see how this holds up in the next coming year. So without belaboring that point too much or going into a full-blown, you know, Roughout comparison video, guys, I'm excited about this leather. And don't forget, I have my Iron Rangers, the 8111s. I have that in the amber leather, and then I also have my mock toes, and that's in the copper rough and tough. So there's a few different things we can compare, not only the boots and stuff like that, but we can compare the leathers and kind of get an idea as to how they hold up to my normal wear and tear over the next year and stuff like that. So on the inside, these boots do have a liner. So it's a thin layer of leather, and my Iron Rangers don't have a liner, and neither do my mock toes. So again, I think they're trying to just make these boots a little bit more casual, a little bit more comfortable. And then back here on the heel counter, instead of a leather liner there, they have a plastic heel counter, and that's supposed to be easier to break in while still giving it some rigidity. So we'll kind of see how that goes over the next year as well. And in terms of the toe box, they have this, apparently it's new to them, a polyester nylon space mesher. So it's gonna make the toe box area more breathable. I'll try to see if I notice anything there. I don't usually notice, I don't have incredibly sweaty feet or anything like that, so I'll try to see if I notice anything there different or cooler. Try to pay attention to that as well. But that's something new to them on the Heritage line. And then this boot is built on the number 8 last. So that's the same last as my Iron Rangers. So friends, I got the exact same last, same size boot by the same manufacturer. So I'm excited to see how they fit. Of course, it doesn't lace up, so it's gonna wear a little bit different up top, but you know, trying them on in the store, I went and bought these myself. Red Wing didn't send them out to me. Went in and bought them and tried them on, and of course I try a couple sizes, even though I know it's gonna be this 11.5. I went ahead and tried on a couple. So the number 8 lasts, and I'm excited to just to get into that and see how that goes. It does offer more toe space, so a lot of people are gonna like that. It's a roomier toe box. And then friends, it's gonna come with that bulbous look, if you will, kind of a chunky round ball up front that some people say on the Iron Rangers looks like a clown shoe or something like that. But again, that might go into how you're gonna style it. We'll talk about styling and how I'll be styling these later on as well. I think that look does give you a little bit more play with some more of the baggy pants compared to the slender fit pants. But again, that room there, because some guys have a wider foot up there, is going to be attractive to a lot of you guys. In fact, it's a lot closer to maybe my red backs My Rossi boots are still pretty bulky, although they're a little bit more slender than the Redbacks. And then my Beckett Simonon boots, those are another Chelsea boot I have that are still, I would say, a little more on the chunky side, but getting more slender. Not anything like the RM Williams kind of dress boots, if you will, in their Chelsea line. But again, a lot more roomy, so I think that's what you're going to see a lot on this channel. Guys, it's because I have this run and gun lifestyle. I like everything to be comfortable, so I don't have as many occasions to dress up, if you will, to wear a slender looking boot or even a lot of nice service style boots. I don't have as many occasions. Sometimes when I'm preaching or going to church, I like to dress up like that. But as a rule, these, I kind of wanted to have another boot for that run and gun style. Now, Red Wing here is, again, whether you call it a identity crisis or just the company branching out, they're trying to move from strictly just work boots to get in the casual stuff. Again, you'll see different guys talking about it. It's like many folks don't want a huge break-in process. If they buy a boot that's terrible on their feet and just uncomfortable right away, and they don't understand the benefit of breaking in a good work boot, they're gonna send it back. And so that's gonna cause frustrations for them. They'll probably talk about it online, and then the company will get the boots back. So they still have plenty of the work line boots. I don't think they're just changing their whole production. They're just offering some of these boots. So I think it's a really good move on the company. It'll just take some adjusting and some growing pains on some of you guys' part, but still excited to see how this heritage line plays out for them. So moving on to the midsole, guys, this boot has a top layer, which is what your foot would come in contact with a piece of chrome tan leather. Beyond that, you're gonna have a poured open cell foam underneath that layer, and then below that you'll have Texon cork filler, and then you're gonna have the bottom layer with that veg tan insole. So below that, now you're getting into the outsole. The way that the boot is connected to the outsole is, of course, that Goodyear stitch, and that's what's gonna separate this from a lot of the lower cost boots. So guys, this thing, I guess we'll talk about it now. Mine came in at like 288 bucks out the door at the store. I ended up getting a little discount or something from the sales rep, but I'll have a link to these in the description below. Guys, when you make a purchase like that, it doesn't cost you any extra. It just supports the channel, helps me to keep buying boots and keep reviewing them and stuff like that. So I really appreciate when I see some of those sales come in. But at any rate, friends, these things are probably about 60 to 80 bucks more than your Blundstones. And I think, you know, probably about 150 more than the Redbacks, if I remember right. But at any rate, my Redbacks are getting old. They're 2.5 years, I think. I'd have to double check. And they're almost shot, so the outsoles are going out. And when they're done, they're gonna be done. The cool thing about these boots is, providing that the uppers hold up like Red Wing's known to, you can get several resoles out of this, at least one with no dramas. So I'm looking forward to that. That's some stuff I want to start putting on the channel too, different resoles as some of these boots are getting old. But I think when you start thinking about the price, that's where this Goodyear stitch right here, that's where that's gonna help. So you can rebuild it and then get yourself another lifetime out of these boots, where again with my Redbacks I'm not going to be able to do that. So again with this outsole, it's that traction tread wedge outsole. I have the mock toes with the same outsole, and I'm loving those, super comfortable. Can't wait to try it on a Chelsea boot. Again, it might not always be the look for you. Some of their older models, they would go with the Vibram mini lug and stuff like that. You can talk to a cobbler and get these switched up down the road. Maybe when it's time for a resole, you can just change up the whole profile, if you will. But I'm happy with the look. Again, on the black boot, they have a black outsole, which I don't have a huge need for a lot of black boots, and I think it would almost be cool to try maybe this outsole or even a mini lug. If Red Wing keeps running this boot, it'd be kind of cool to see how a mini lug would look on that. But I'm stoked with how that looks for me. Of course, you're not going to be tracking in all the dirt, and you can take this hiking, you can take it in the city. There's so many different applications for this boot. A lot of people wear Chelsea boots on farms and stuff. Again, with the mud, you're not going to track a bunch of stuff in. So lots of different uses there, and we'll get into some of the styling here in a little bit. In terms of the size, now friends, I went with 11.5. So I'm a size 12 on a Brannock device. If you're not sure what you are, just head into any good reputable shoe store and tell them you want to get measured, and or maybe you'll find one sitting under a bench and you can just get yourself kind of honed in there. If you can get yourself into a Red Wing store, obviously go ahead and get in there and they'll fit you and everything like that. But I'm a size 12 on a Brannock device and I went half a size down. So pretty much as a rule, just get your Brannock and go half a size down. They do have a pretty good wide range of sizes there, so you can check the website for what's available. But at any rate, it's not too much there. Again, it's a number 8 last, so we'll see how it compares over there to my Iron Rangers. In terms of care and conditioning, just get yourself a hard bristle brush or get the one on the website for the suede nubuck and just hit it, hit it pretty good. Don't be too worried to hit it with that brush. And then they want you to go ahead and put mink oil. So a lot of you guys aren't crazy about mink oil. It will probably darken it a little bit, but that's the recommended care instructions. Let me know if you have this boot and what you've done over the years to clean it. What you've done to care for it. If it has some stains, apparently they have this little eraser brush that you can get in there and get some stains out. But I think something cool about this boot, being kind of work booty but still heritage, I'm just gonna tear the heck out of it, man. I'm not gonna hold back. I think it'll color really well, and if I end up going the mink oil route, we'll see how that darkens and stuff. With it being such a light boot to begin with, I think I'd be okay if it darkened a little bit for me. But again, friends, these boots are awesome. I can't wait to get into them. Let me know in the comments if you've had these boots, what you think of them. Before we get out on a little adventure, we're gonna go through 3 kind of styling options, and I want you guys to let me know in the comment which one you think is best. So guys, I'm gonna go through 3 different outfits, and then we're gonna choose one of those outfits and head out on a little adventure, guys. We're down here in Florida. We're at a little park, and we're gonna hit up some trails, see if these things can't come in contact with a gator or 2. But then we got a long life with these boots, so make sure and stick around for that. All right, friends, the things I do for YouTube views, check that out. Down here in Florida, having a great time. These boots are holding up so well. Now, that is some slippery stuff, some uneven stuff. Even though these are a slip-on Chelsea boot, I'm able to go out and have some adventures, stuff like that. So honestly, guys, I'm giving these an A rating today. We're gonna have to wait and see how the 1-year review goes, see how these things hold up to more junk like that. But honestly, friends, these things are awesome. We're gonna make our way back to the truck and call it. But friends, let me know if there's any questions that you have about these boots. I like to answer anything I can, get to any of those care instructions or anything like that. But guys, again, let me know if you have these boots, what experience you've had with them. Got a lot of fun stuff, guys. Ordered a bunch of stuff. It's coming. We're gonna be doing a bunch of good reviews this year. Really fun year, so make sure and subscribe and hang back for all that. Until the next video, guys, God bless. And hey, don't forget to give your boots some love from time to time.